What if we took inspiration from the Underworld Breach combo deck and applied it to Song of Creation? This could be your post-ban deck after March 31st. This video is proudly sponsored by Card Market. Today we're playing a donation deck from community member Gobi, who wanted to see Song of Creation again. And I say again because I just uploaded it about 2.5 weeks ago. You can find that one in the card above, but with a slightly different base. Instead of playing, Strike It Rich and things like that, we're just making the Song of Creation deck into the Underworld Breach combo deck, so that way you have a higher card quality. One of the nice things about that Underworld Breach combo deck is that your card quality is quite high. So today we're playing Mox Amber alongside Tamiyo Inquisitive Student, Emery Lurker of the Lock, and those sort of things. We're even playing the Urza Saga package that contains Hill Guide Lantern and Haywire Might. So we're no longer playing this list. This is what I played in my last video, where we had Gutshot, Strike It Rich, Preordain, Engineered Explosives, that sort of thing. So instead today, we're playing a Legend package that allows you to create card advantage over time. I do have one concern about the deck list. So in that last video, which is this deck list, I played Preordain and Malevolent Rumble, and I sort of struggled to find Song of Creation in my losses. Today we're not playing Preordain. The only card you have to dig is the Malevolent Rumble, and you're playing one less Shifting Woodland in order to support the Urza Sagas. The upside is if you already have a Shifting Woodland, you now have 8 ways to dig super deep with the Emery and the Malevolent Rumble to find that Song of Creation. And then you're really relying on Emery plus Mishra's Bauble to draw you into Song of Creation, or the clue tokens from Tamiyo Inquisitive Student. It might be great. It really could be. And I'm just a little nervous for no reason, but it's a bug I have in my ear being like, what if you don't find it? What if you don't find it? Which is just a natural fear of mine. That said, I could see this being very good. Looking at the deck list, I feel very confident in it. I've never really loved Strike It Rich, and having Mox Amber in your Song of Creation deck, so you have more 0-mana spells that also just are positive on mana, makes a lot of sense to me. So I'm thrilled to play this for you today. Thank you again to Gobi for supporting the channel. I truly appreciate it. That is my short and sweet deck tech. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, like, comment, subscribe, support the channel, and I will see you in the first round. Don't go anywhere. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. You can also show your support by becoming a member of this channel. You get sweet perks such as badges, emotes, early access to videos, exclusive members only content, and access to our members Discord section. As you increase the tiers, there are other rewards such as shop discounts, cyborg guides, and even free donation decks. Click the join button down below to find out more. We also have other ways you can support us, like theepicstorm.com/shop, or submitting a donation deck via theepicstorm.com/donation decks. That's enough for now. Let's play some Magic. Welcome to match number 1. We are on the draw. Our opponent has kept 7 cards, and here we've opened up a hand with no lands, which wouldn't be an issue if we had a Mishra's Bauble, because then our Mox Opal would be active. We could play Emery Lurker of the Lock, and our hand would function. But it doesn't, so we're going to send it back. Alright, so we have 2 lands. We have Song of Creation. I like this. We'll get rid of the Emery Lurker of the Lock, just because I don't have any artifacts. Our opponent plays Commercial District. Big fan. Especially when I have one of those in my hand as well. They surveil away Basic Forest. We draw another copy of An Offer You Can't Refuse. I'm going to play the first turn Tamiyo Inquisitive Student and just pass. Another Basic Forest. Different art, though. In actuality, our opponent's playing 2 different basics. You should always run the same basics. I know that it seems silly, but if I was a Thoughtseize deck, I would know that which one is which. And if you accidentally play the wrong one, then for the rest of your game, the opponent has knowledge or information that they shouldn't have. Just play the same basics in your deck. I'm not trying to make fun of our opponent here. I'm trying to spread some knowledge. Alright, so they're just on the Gruul Eldrazi ramp deck that's been fairly popular. They've selected Writhing Chrysalis with the Malevolent Rumble. Okay. I draw an Emery. Let's attack with the Tamiyo. Trigger. We'll create a clue. Play Commercial District. I don't think I want a Noxious Revival. Pass the turn. So there is a play that I could theoretically make here, but I'm not sure if it's something I want to do, which is if our opponent plays a spell, I could play Pact of Negation, hold priority, and then offer you can't refuse on my own Pact of Negation. And the reason I don't want to make this play is I've really been struggling with holding priority on Pact of Negation on Magic Online recently. It's just a miserable experience where it seems to never work and then I end up losing. So instead of just losing the match right now, I'm going to just play it a little bit slower. So the Sowing Mycospawn grabs an Ugin's Labyrinth, and they put an Emrakul, the Promise End underneath, and now Talisman of Impulse. The next turn, that's 6 mana. I mean, should I try to do this Pact of Negation trick? I don't know. I also don't have mana next turn to even try. Like, even if I play the song, I don't have mana to do anything else. Should I try to do the Pact of Negation trick and probably lose the game because it doesn't work? At least on Magic Online? I'm going to allow it to resolve. We'll draw. Mox Amber, so that puts me only 1 mana away. Attack with the Tamiyo. Create a clue. We'll play Mox Amber. Play the Emery Lurker of the Lock. I milled over the Grape Shot, so we still have 3 Noxious Revivals to get back Grape Shot. I think I'm going to crack a clue now to hope to spike a land, and I did not. Okay, so the downside is that you're not holding open an offer you can't refuse. That said, I kind of doubt my opponent's going to play anything this turn where I want to play an offer you can't refuse. Like, the card would be Karn the Great Creator, and they could have played it last turn or even the turn earlier if that's what they wanted to do. So I'm going to just, give myself the opportunity to draw that land that I need to put myself ahead. It didn't work, but that's what I was going for. Kozilek's returns, so this will kill my Emery Lurker of the Lock. And now they attack for 3. Ouch. I go to 15. And they pass the turn. We'll take a draw. Stomping Ground. So I have enough mana to play Song of Creation, but I don't have any way to trigger my song, so we will attack, make another clue, play Stomping Ground, and I'll play it untapped. Pass the turn. They play Writhing Chrysalis. Sure. And now they attack from Sowing Mycospawn. Karn the Great Creator. I am going to offer you can't refuse this. So the Karn the Great Creator has been countered. They get a few treasure tokens. And the Writhing Chrysalis gets a little bit bigger. On the end step, I will sacrifice a clue token. We draw another Emery Lurker of the Lock. I need a spell to trigger Song of Creation. That was not it. Attack with the Tamiyo. Ooh, I forgot about the reach on Writhing Chrysalis. That's twice recently. That's not good. Okay, so I will draw here with the clue. And let's draw again. And this will transform the Tamiyo. And I'll plus the Tamiyo, play my land. I go to 9. We'll play Tamiyo Inquisitive Student as a blocker, pass the turn. So yeah, the choke point this game is just spells that I can literally just trigger Song of Creation with. Not used to that. They're going to Kozilek's Command. Sure. Is that that's lethal. I guess I could have tried to Pact of Negation. All they have to do is sacrifice the Eldrazi. Wait, I have the Tamiyo trigger. The Tamiyo is going to make them a little bit smaller here. So I'm not just dead. They're paying costs. If it's another Kalgan's Command, I can't do anything. Or I'm sorry, Kozilek's Command. I can't do anything. And it is. And that's going to be good enough to beat me here. I could Pact of Negation, but then I can't untap and win. Alright, so that did not go super well. I feel like that's a game that got away from me. We'll shave 2 Pact of Negation. Bring in a couple copies of Into the Flood Maw. Get rid of the Soul Guide Lantern. We don't need that. Let's try this. Game number 2, we're on the play. This seems reasonable. I would like to keep. Play Steam Vents. Ouch. And Tamiyo Inquisitive Student. Let's play the Mishra's Bauble. And I'll bobble them. World Breaker. Okay. I drew another land. Yikes. They have Ugin's Labyrinth. They exile the Worldbreaker and a Soulless Jailer. So they don't know that I'm actually just Song of Creation combo, so that's a benefit for me. We'll play the Urza Saga, play Mox Opal. We'll attack and create a clue. Pass the turn. Eldrazi Temple. I think a Thought-Knot Seer here would be hilarious. I don't know if they're actually going to play it, but just the fact that I'm sitting on nothing but lands would be kind of funny. Talisman of Impulse. 3 mana here for a Kozilek's Command. Okay, so I am not going to sacrifice the clue because I need it for Metalcraft. We'll draw, and then Urza Saga will go up to the next chapter. Play out the Mox Amber. And I could play Hedge Maze now because I have Metalcraft, so I don't necessarily need to play out another land to activate the Saga. So I will play Hedge Maze. Don't want a Mishra's Bauble, and I will pass. Next turn, I'll play out an Urza's Saga. Basically, if I played Saga this turn, next turn I wouldn't have enough mana to activate both Sagas, which was a concern of mine. They play Malevolent Rumble. They find Emrakul the Promise End, Utopia Sprawl, Gemstone Caverns, and another Malevolent Rumble. Maybe I should have held the Mox Amber. No, I needed it for Metalcraft. Okay. I was just thinking that, like, if I draw a Song of Creation, I want something to trigger it. They chose Gemstone Caverns. They play Wooded Foothills. So they have 3 cards in hand, and one of them is a Gemstone Cavern. They search out Stomping Ground. And Karn the Great Creator, that's a problem. Let's activate the Saga. Okay. So now they're going to minus the Karn. And they grab Tormod's Crypt. Sure. I am still not Underworld Breach combo. We will draw and then activate the Urza's Saga. Our construct is about to be a 6/6. Let's grab Haywire Might. Or would Mishra's Bauble be better? Probably Bauble. Go to combat, and I will attack Karn the Great Creator. They block with the Eldrazi Spawn. And I'll play another copy of Urza's Saga. Pass the turn. They play the known Gemstone Caverns. If they have something like an Ensnaring Bridge, that would actually be kind of problematic here. I don't know if they're playing anything like Ensnaring Bridge, but it would be a problem for me. And they do have Ensnaring Bridge. That's a bummer. You might be saying, well, why didn't you grab Haywire Might? Well, Haywire Might doesn't work with a Karn the Great Creator in play. That is why I did not grab it. And there's the Ensnaring Bridge. I did sideboard in 3 copies of Into the Floodmaw, but I'd have to draw one of them. We'll take a draw here. Ding dong! Alright, so the Saga goes to the next chapter. Hold on. I don't need to do this right now. So I could bounce the bridge and then kill the Karn. And that means that next turn that Saga can grab Haywire Might. So that makes sense to me. The problem is if they have like a Kozilek's Command in hand, it blows this play out of the water. So what if I just pass and then end step I make another construct? And I suppose passing plays around a second copy of Karn the Great Creator. So I will pass. Looks like they do have the Kozilek's Command too. And they do. So they make 2 blockers. So I suppose I could just bounce the Karn and then not even need to kill it. And then grab Haywire Might for the Ensnaring Bridge. That's another thought here. They put 2 cards on top of their deck. That is terrifying. They kill my Mox Opal. Sure. Writhing Chrysalis. So I don't even know if I care about answering the Ensnaring Bridge anymore. I don't think I can win this game with constructs. So what does a winning game look like? I think I'd have to draw Song of Creation. The Stone Brain. Sure. I'm interested to see what they name here. Because I think my belief is that they don't know what I'm playing. They did see the Grape Shot in game 1, which means I would have to win with a construct token this game if they name Grape Shot. They named Underworld Breach. That's what I guessed. And there's no Underworld Breaches in my deck, so congratulations. Alright, the opponent's finally done resolving their spell, and now on their end step, I think we're supposed to bounce the Karn the Great Creator. We'll give them a tapped fish. And now I will... I'm going to bobble myself. Even though I'm going to draw the card, I want to know what's on top because it might change my mind on whether or not I want to create a construct rather than draw a card with the clue. An offer you can't refuse. So that is not a Song of Creation. Let's draw a card with the clue. And now we'll draw off the bobble. And now we'll draw for turn. Noxious Revival. I did not find the Song of Creation. So we'll make another construct here. Grab the Haywire Mite. Play Stomping Ground. Ouch. We will exile... Oh, hold on. If I exile Ensnaring Bridge, Karn just gets it back. But I have the Offer You Can't Refuse for Karn. So maybe that's not as bad as it seems. If I play the Emery, the Mox Amber is active. So that means I can hold open an Offer You Can't Refuse. So let's play that. I will mill 4. Okay. I'm going to pass the turn. So I can Offer You Can't Refuse on the Karn the Great Creator. And then we can start figuring stuff out. They play the Karn the Great Creator. And now I will play an Offer You Can't Refuse. See ya. They have 2 cards left in their hand. They're getting very low on clock. Our opponent plays very slowly. So if I manage to win this, they're in trouble for game 3. Another copy of Karn the Great Creator. So I can Pact of Negation this and then pay for it on my turn. I think that's probably the best thing I can do here. We will Pact of Negation. And they cannot attack because of their own Ensnaring Bridge. And now they play a Malevolent Rumble. Sure. Bojuka Bog, World Breaker, Ugin's Labyrinth, Kozilek's Command. World Breaker is good for them, but they currently can't cast it, so I can still pay for the Pact of Negation. They could take the Bojuka Bog with a Tormod's Crypt already in play, but I'm not sure how much that really matters. They chose World Breaker, so they're going to be able to play that next turn. Opponent down to 5 minutes on clock. Like, they're just very, very deliberate. They're mulling over here on whether or not they want to use the Tormod's Crypt to deny me being able to play Mishra's Bauble. And apparently the answer was yes. So they're going to use their Tormod's Crypt. Should I use the Haywire Mite on the Talisman? So if I do, this is 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. World Breaker costs 7, so it doesn't actually stop them from playing it. I will exile the Talisman of Impulse. Because I don't want them to use World Breaker to exile the Haywire Mite. That ends up being very bad for me. So I will pay for the Pact of Negation here. Draw for turn. It's a land. I can fetch, and I don't have another basic, but I can grab a Breeding Pool. Ouch. Replay the Haywire Mite. Oh, I just said that I didn't want to do that because of World Breaker. I'm such an idiot. Sorry, I don't know why their clock being low is making me want to play Reckless. That doesn't make sense. That was just not a good move. Although, hypothetically, them using World Breaker on my Haywire Mite isn't a good play for them because they want me to answer the Ensnaring Bridge. So maybe they shouldn't do that, but we'll see. Yeah, that was not my best play there. I probably should have just, on the end step, grab a Surveil Land instead. And they are going to exile the Haywire Mite. Interesting. 4 minutes left on their clock. I mean, I think they wanted me to answer the Ensnaring Bridge, so this is probably a misplay on their part. We'll play the Shifting Woodland. Pass the turn. 4 minutes on their clock. Sowing Mycospawn with Kicker, so they can exile my Shifting Woodland. They grab Sanctum of Ugin. Okay. 3.5 minutes left on their clock. Another Emery. We'll play it. Keep the one already in play. We'll use Emery to replay... No, I already have a Mox Amber. That doesn't help me. I guess what I could do is I could put a Rumble on top. A lot of mana here. Devourer of Destiny. They're going to exile my Emery. Sure. And they grab World Breaker. So that way they can exile their own Ensnaring Bridge. Okay. Can they cast it? They're 1 mana short. They can't even play it. I will put Rumble on top of the deck, paying a green. We'll draw Rumble, play the Rumble, find the Song of Creation. So I could play Song here, But I know that they have World Breaker. So I think I'm probably supposed to just pass. And they have another Ugin's Labyrinth, so they'll be able to play the World Breaker. And they do exile their own Ensnaring Bridge. And now they're attacking with 3 large Eldrazi. Okay, so I'm at 14. I need to block at least one of these. So we'll block the Writhing Chrysalis. And then we could probably double block the Devourer of Destiny. Actually, that means that they all die. So if that's the case, I might as well block like this, but then I lose Metalcraft. So should I just take 11? But then I could be shut off of using Noxious Revival. I only have 1 Noxious Revival left. I will block like this, I guess. I don't know. I need a spell to trigger Song of Creation. That triggers Song of Creation, so we'll sacrifice the spawn. Green, red, play Song of Creation, play a Mox Amber, trigger Song. No! Alright, so I have to Pact of Negation my own Mox Amber here. Pact. And then we can offer You Can't Refuse on the Pact of Negation. Okay, so that happens. Alright, so I can Rumble. I have used 3 Noxious Revivals, so if I hit both the Grape Shot and Noxious Revival, I lose. But also, I don't know if I can create enough Storm. Like, my deck is at 18 cards, and Noxious Revival puts 1 card on top. So I think I'm going to deck myself here. I don't think that I can actually win this. So one of the few ways I can win is if I don't mill Noxious Revival or Grape Shot. So I hit the Revival, Rumble. None of these really matter. We'll take Urza Saga. I will Noxious Revival a Noxious Revival. Term is 6. We didn't hit the Grape Shot. Play Mox Opal. Noxious Revival, Noxious Revival. Storm's 8. I need to hit the Grape Shot like very quickly here. Make a red. We'll play another Mox Opal. I think Grape Shot's too far on the bottom. I'm not going to be able to close it. Noxious Revival, Noxious Revival. I go to 3. There it is. So can I win this? Grape Shot would be 11. I would draw the Noxious Revival. This might work. We'll play the other Urza Saga. So if I Grape Shot, I'll draw the Revival. Bring it down to 3. Does this work? So I Grape Shot. 3 cards left. Draw the Revival. Play Revival. I'd have to play a spell to draw into Grape Shot, and then when I go to Grape Shot, I can put the song triggers underneath the Grape Shot triggers? Does this actually work? I think it does. Alright, let's play Grape Shot. So you want to click on the song trigger so that way the Grape Shot ones will resolve first. So I'm saying that now so that way for in the next loop I can do it correctly. So I think we're going to win with exact, with no cards in deck. Alright, so now I'm going to go to 1, put Grape Shot on top of the deck, and now there's 2 cards left in the deck, which means that I can play this Mox Opal, keep the new one, tap the Mox Opal, and we're going to win with the Song of Creation trigger on the stack with no library. So we're going to click on the song. This is the first time this has ever come up for me. Holy moly, this is sweet. Wow. We're not going to deck due to the Storm trigger. This is so cool. Alright, so we have 7 minutes to win game 3, and they have 2 minutes. That was insane. Okay. So we still have to win a game here. We probably want the Into the Floodmaw. I'm going to cut a Tameo Inquisitive Student. Hit submit. Let's go. I think we keep this. They have Forest into Utopia Sprawl. Play Misty Rainforest Pass. They play a Rumble. They find the Stone Brain. They chose it. They play Wooded Foothills. They're fetching. Forest. If this is the Stone Brain, I have to play Offer. Okay. We'll grab Breeding Pool. Offer You Can't Refuse. Play Steam Vents. Ouch. Play Rumble. We will take... I don't really want any of these. Mishra's Bauble. Play the Bauble. Use it. Cavern of Souls. Pass the turn. Okay. So the one downside of that offer is I gave them a lot of mana here. Karn the Great Creator. They use the Karn. A minute 14 left on their clock. Cityscape Reveler. We draw Emery. What can I do? Sorry, I'm trying to think the best way forward here. I think I'm going to Rumble. We'll take the Bauble. Play the Bauble. I mean, I could Grape Shot the Karn. Maybe that's not crazy. Yeah, let's kill the Karn. And then we'll play Amber past the turn. I don't know. Maybe I should have held the Amber. I'm getting nervous about only 5 minutes on clock. And they just exile my Grape Shot. That stinks. So I can still win this game with Urza's Saga. We draw Song of Creation. That doesn't matter anymore because I can't win without... Like, I don't have a Grape Shot. Oh, I should have used the Noxious Revival. I'm just so nervous about the clock for some reason. We'll Bauble them. Sanctum of Ugin. And the Reveler. They exile my Emery. Yep. The Reveler resolves. So we're going to draw off the Bauble. Draw for turn. Play the Saga. Pass the turn. We will bounce the Reveler. Karn the Great Creator. Sure. They're going to kill my Amber. End step, I will Noxious Revival the Into the Flood Maw back on top, paying the mana. Play Stomping Ground. Pass the turn. Commercial District. Sure. Sowing Myco Spawn. I'll make a Construct in response. And our opponent timed out. So, yeah, I mean, that's a part of Magic Online. If the clock wasn't a problem, I wouldn't have played so quickly that I got nervous about a Bojuka Bog. But it happens. We won the first match, and we are now 1-0 to start off this Modern League. MoxFueled.com is the easiest way to build a Magic deck online. They support over 30 formats, including Legacy and many other Eternal formats. There are so many options to view decks the way that you want, from text view to individual cards, mana value, and even card price. There's also light mode and dark mode. My personal favorite feature is card tags. This way you can sort cards by function. MoxFueled supports collection tracking, Scryfall search, decklist feedback, and so much more. Follow me on MoxFueled.com so you can stay updated on all of my decks. For round number 2, we're on the draw. I'm going to keep this hand. We're actually facing another Magic Online sponsored creator. And I would like to make a quick note about match number 1. There was no lag issues on either side. Like, Magic Online never had that spinning wheel of darkness. My opponent was just very deliberate, and they were punished. So that happens when you decide to spend a lot of time thinking about your actions. And now we're going to focus on potentially winning this. Meticulous Archive. I would like to play a Mishra's Bauble, and then I'm going to look at my top card. If it's Song of Creation, I will not shuffle my deck. And if it is... Oh, alright, I'm not shuffling. We found Song of Creation. Okay, so I will play out... Actually, let's hold the Bauble. And then I can grab a Surveil land. We found the song. We did the tough part. They play a Scalding Tarn. Fetch. We'll grab Hedge Maze. Don't need a Haywire Mite that can go to the graveyard. We draw the Grape Shot. A little stinky. We'll play Tamiyo Inquisitive Student. Play Stomping Ground. And I think I'm supposed to use the Bauble because I need more mana. So I will pass. We grab another Meticulous Archive. Spell Snare was the card. They got rid of it. Solitude. So my Tamiyo is probably dying. Mox Amber. That's unfortunate because that would be a mana that I need here. Another Active Negation. Let's swing. Create the clue. I know that you have a Solitude. The question is, do you want to exile a white card? I will pass the turn. They play land number 4. They have 6 cards in their hand. Let's draw off the clue token. We drew a land. So I can, in theory, play Song next turn. Another Noxious Revival. We'll play Mox Amber. See if they use the Solitude in response. They don't. Okay. So we will try a Song of Creation. Boom. It's just a little song. I just want to sing it. Come on, let it resolve. You don't need to use a counterspell. What bad could happen? Really? Orm's Chant with Kicker. I will Pact of Negation. Main deck Orm's Chant? Come on, get out of here. Get out of here. They counterspell targeting. I can't tell what this is on. Song of Creation. I will Pact of Negation. So if they have Force of Negation, I now lose. But I know that one of their cards is a Solitude. Alright, Pact. Song of Creation. It resolves! I will Noxious Revival back a Mishra's Bauble. Paying 2 life. Trigger the song. Wonderful. And now the Tamiyo will transform. We will plus the Tamiyo. Okay. Let's play a Mox Amber. Triggers. We'll keep the new Mox Amber. Play Mishra's Bauble. Storm is 9. Mox Opal. Storm is 10. We'll tap for some mana here. Play another copy of Mox Opal. And the Moxes really do feel great. I will say that. This feels a lot more like Legacy Storm, where your zeros are also just always mana, and that seems really good to me. I will play Noxious Revival on Noxious Revival. Okay, I'm at 13. We'll play a Mishra's Bauble. Play a basic island. They're at 19, so I still have some work to do here. We'll Noxious Revival on Noxious Revival. Just ways to make sure that my song is always triggering. Noxious Revival on Noxious Revival. Storm 15. It also slows down you decking yourself, which is kind of nice. We'll play a Mox Amber. Keep the new one. Storm is 17. We'll help them out a little bit. I'll put an Orm's Chant back on top of their deck. It looks like they could use one. Storm is 18. Storm 19 Grape Shot. Boom! Well, that was just some good old-fashioned Magic the Gathering. I love it. And that's the game. So we get game number 1. I think we want Veil of Summer. I want Surgical Extraction as well. Probably don't need the Soul Guide Lantern. Mind Collapse kills Narset or Teferi Time Raveler, which I think are things we care about. What to cut? So there's a risk where you really shouldn't board out a bunch of Noxious Revivals, which is something I learned in my last video. So I'm not sure what I would like to take out here. Part of me thinks that the creatures probably aren't great versus a control deck, and I could look at potentially cutting them. But if I do that, then the Mox Ambers get stinky. So I'm not sure if that's actually a good decision. I like the idea of Surgical Extraction, so that way I can look at their hand, but also remove like all of the Orm's Chants from the game. I'm going to cut 2 Emerys and 2 Tamiyos. And then I need 3 more cuts, so we could probably get rid of 1 Mox Amber. Maybe 1 Offer You Can't Refuse. We'll do 1 Noxious Revival. I will live with 3. If I can't win, then so be it. I didn't even realize that they revealed a Kahira the Orphan Guard in Game 1. Maybe they didn't, but I think that they probably did and I just didn't notice. We will keep this. Flooded Strand. We'll play Commercial District. I think I'm going to... If they have a Surgical for the song, I'm going to feel so dumb. But we'll get rid of it. So the upside of putting this to the graveyard is now if I find a... what is it called? Shifting Woodland. There we go. I have a memory. Then I can copy the Song of Creation. End step, they fetch with the Flooded Strand. Meticulous Archive. And they put that card on top. They cycle a Lorien Revealed for a Breeding Pool. And then they play another Meticulous Archive. We draw Mox Opal. I will play the Haywire Might and then pass the turn. So Haywire Might's mostly just insurance for something like Deafening Silence or High Noon or something like that. 3 mana for a Narset Parter of Veils. I'm going to play an Offer You Can't Refuse. We'll grab Steam Vents, I guess. And then play the Offer You Can't Refuse. We draw another land. Alright, attack with the Haywire Might. Pass the turn. You have another Narset here? I mean, I could have Surgical, but I didn't want to. You know what? Let's Surgical the Narset now. They gave me priority. Let's not potentially risk it. And they had one in hand. Okay, so their hand is Prismatic Ending, Solitude, Wrath of the Skies, Teferi Time Raveler. They play Hallowed Fountain. And that is a Teferi Time Raveler. They're going to bounce my Haywire Might. If I sacrifice this, it actually gives me a window here. So, because they won't draw the card, and I can exile a treasure, and they can't play the Leyline Binding. Oh, I guess they don't have a Leyline Binding. For some reason in my head, I thought they had one. Maybe I should have kept the Haywire Might then. Whoops. I guess they still fizzled the draw, so that's fine. And they can't have a counterspell now. So I can play Song of Creation. Ideally, I would Surveil here into a free spell. Alright, the Surveil. Don't want the Emery. We'll put that to the graveyard. Alright, let's see if we can make this happen. Mishra's Bauble is a good find. We'll play Stomping Ground. Ouch. Red, blue, green, doesn't matter. Song of Creation. We'll play the Misty, play the Bauble, and then with this draw on the stack, I'll fetch. So basically, this means that I get to thin out the land and I get a song trigger, because if you fetch first, then they could theoretically kill the song and you get no trigger. This way is just the best. Alright, so now we'll play an Opal and an Amber. So now my Opals have Metalcraft. Tap for a blue. We'll play Mox Opal. And now I can Mind Collapse on the Teferi. Sacrifice Commercial District. Get that stupid Planeswalker out of here. And now we'll play Mishra's Bauble. Okay, so the world is our oyster. What can I do to maximize my odds of winning? Storm is 7, they're at 14. I guess I can Rumble. Even if I mill over Grapeshot, I have a Noxious Revival. I suppose we'll take Song of Creation. We'll play Tamiyo Inquisitive Student. Tap the Amber for a blue. I'll play another Amber. And now I can Noxious Revival on Mox Opal. I'll go to 9. And then Noxious Revival on Noxious Revival. I will go to 7. We'll play the Mox Opal. Surgical Extraction on Teferi Time Raveler. I'll go to 5. Okay. Still no Grapeshot. We'll play Mishra's Bauble. Play Mishra's Bauble. Tap the Opal for a red. I'll play another Mox Opal. Grapeshot, where are you? If it's in the bottom 2, we're actually in trouble. But we'll see. What to do? I will play a Tamiyo Inquisitive Student. Legend Rule. I'll float a blue, play another Mox Amber. Come on, Grapeshot, you're making me nervous. There you are. Okay. And Grapeshot for lethal. Target you. That was sweet. And we are now 2-0. Looking to make playing your favorite combo deck much easier? Look no further than the Epic Storm Mini Token Combo Pack, which is available at theepicstorm.com/shop for $14.99. This combo token pack comes with 84 double-sided tokens. That includes our classic Storm and mana tokens, as well as fan favorites such as Goblins, Squirrels, and Slime Time Live. But that's not all. We've expanded this token pack to cover a variety of formats with new tokens. Stop on by theepicstorm.com/shop and make an easy decision to elevate your combo game. Round number 3, we are on the play. Let's go. Double Song of Creation. We're only one artifact away from casting them. I think we keep this. Like a Mishra's Bauble breaks this hand wide open. I suppose a Mishra's Bauble would mean I could cast Song of Creation, but I wouldn't be able to trigger it. I still think that it's a keep. We'll play the Hedge Maze. I don't know if they're a blue deck, so I'm not going to keep that. On top of that, I just need more mana. So that is why I put Pact of Negation to the graveyard. Basic Plains into Relic of Progenitus. Sure, you got it. Misty Rainforest, I will play that and pass. Elegant Parlor, so some sort of Boros control deck. On the end step, we will fetch, grab the Commercial District. Goodbye to Pact of Negation again. Rumble! So the one downside is if I rumble and mill over the Grapeshot, I'm going to be very, very upset. I think we're supposed to take the risk. Tap the Commercial District and Island. Because by playing the rumble this turn, I have the ability to play Song next turn with a bunch of triggers. I'll take the Urza's Saga, pass the turn. So I guess if I waited to play my land, I could have played out the Saga and triggered it, but I don't even want to activate Saga next turn, so I'm not sure how good that really is. They play Ketramos, and they activate the Relic, sure. And they draw a card, and now I'm going to attempt to win the game. We'll play Urza's Saga. Maybe I should have held the land, because that's a colored source I don't get to use now. I'm probably overthinking this, but Just a thought. Green, red. Yeah, I should have held the land. There's no reason for me to play it. Because in theory, if I get bottlenecked on colors now, I get punished. And I didn't need to do that. Another Mox Opal, okay. We'll play Mox Opal. And there's a land. So let's fetch. Grab Breeding Pool. We'll play another Mox Amber. All the zeros. We'll play another Mox Amber. And then we'll play an offer you can't refuse. And this is going to unlock all of the opals. Play Mishra's Bauble. Another Mishra's Bauble. We'll tap this Mox Opal for a red. We'll play Mox Opal. Keep the new one. Tap for blue. We'll play another Mox Opal. Keep it. We'll tap this one for green. And now we'll play Mox Opal number 4. Slide my hand down so I can see what I drew into. We'll play another Mishra's Bauble. And I suppose I can... I don't really want to play Soul Guide Lantern. Oh, Noxious Revival on Noxious Revival. Fine, I'll play a Soul Guide Lantern. I don't know what I'm doing anymore. We'll exile a Scalding Tarn. And I drew a Tamiyo Inquisitive Student, so I'll play that. This will enable my Mox Ambers. I purposely wasn't playing Emery because I didn't want to accidentally mill the Grape Shot. And now we have another Mox Amber. And there's the Grape Shot. Okay, I just need to play a few more spells now. We will Noxious Revival on the Noxious Revival. Term is 17. I suppose I could actually play a Rumble now. So I'll sacrifice the Eldrazi spawn and we'll play Rumble. Term is 18. We'll take a Tamiyo Inquisitive Student. And I will Grape Shot for 19. And if they happen to have a Solitude, I can play Pact of Negation. Okay. We steal game number 1. Getting pretty close to my decking myself a lot in order to win. That's one thing I've noticed this video. Is with Emery and Rumble, you mill a lot of cards. But if you think about how you have to win the game, and I mean you have to win this way, is casting 20 spells in a Grape Shot. 20 spells is 20 cards off of Song of Creation. So you get dangerously close in most games, especially when you're milling with the Rumbles and Emerys. I think we want Mind Collapse. We probably want some number of Into the Flood Maw. We don't need Soul Guide Lantern. Probably shave a couple copies of Pact of Negation. And I think I'm actually going to board out an offer you can't refuse. You don't really need it when you have 8 Moxes in your deck. Like, I think that you could, in theory, argue that you could cut it. I don't know if it's correct. I'm just saying that with 8 Mox in your deck, it's not as good as it used to be. I will submit this. Well, this is a hand. So, the Hedge Maze comes into play tapped, but I think you keep this. You're like dangerously close to a turn 2 Song of Creation. Shadowy Backstreet. We'll play the Hedge Maze. Get rid of the Pact of Negation. I'll play Mox Amber, Mishra's Bauble, Mox Opal, and then play the Tamiyo. Pass the turn. I'm not going to Mishra's Bauble. I could, but my fear is, what if they kill the Tamiyo and then my hand doesn't do anything? They Thoughtseize. They could take the Song of Creation, and they do. Elegant Parlor. And now that our opponent's tapped out, I'm going to bobble them. They're drawing into Relic. Because I'm going to create a clue with the Tamiyo, so I will gain Metalcraft back. And we drew Revival. That's actually not bad here. Play the land. We'll attack with the Tamiyo. Pass the turn. If they play the Relic, I can Noxious Revival the song on top of the deck. Which also helps play around other things. Sure. End step, we'll put Song of Creation back on top. I've never seen an Endurance do this. It's just a joke. Some people play Endurance instead. Alright, so we'll tap for green, blue, doesn't matter. Red, play Song of Creation. We'll play Mox Opal, trigger the song. Tamiyo now transforms. I always forget that. Alright, so now we'll plus on the Tamiyo. Play the Stomping Ground untapped. I'll lose 2. Let's float a green. And we will Mind Collapse to kill the Ketramos. Trigger. Indestructible. Should have known that. I think I would like to Rumble here. We'll play Rumble. Trigger the song. Nothing I can cast. We'll take a Mishra's Bauble, play the Bauble, Noxious Revival. We will fetch out a land, grab Steam Vents, I suppose, and I will Noxious Revival the Noxious Revival. I go to 13, play Mox Amber, Storm is 7, keep the new one. Okay, and now I can Noxious Revival the Revival again. And this is one way you can increase Storm without having to necessarily deck yourself. That for a blue. We'll bounce the Ketramos. Noxious Revival. I'll go to 9. Play Mox Opal. Keep the new one. And Noxious Revival, the Noxious Revival down to 7. Storm is 12. We'll do it again. I go to 5. We'll play a Mox Amber. Keep the new one. Noxious Revival, the Noxious Revival down to 3 life. Storm is 15. And there's the Grape Shot. Okay, so we're almost done. 1 Pact of Negation. I'll sacrifice the spawn. And let's play a Rumble. Storm is 16. We'll take Mox Amber. Tap the Amber for mana. We'll play Mox Amber. Play Mox Opal. And now I can Grape Shot for lethal. Target you. Boom. So far, the deck has felt quite good. I think Gobi might be onto something. This could be a pretty viable combo deck post Underworld Breach ban. And just like that, we're 3-0. You're still watching. Make sure to give this video a like, comment, and subscribe. While you're near the description, here's a reminder to use our affiliate links if you're going to make a purchase from Amazon, Card Hoarder, or TCG Player. Just above those affiliate links, you'll find our social channels. Make sure to join those to connect with us. It is time for the 4th match. We're on the draw. I've opened up a double Urza's Saga hand. We do have Song of Creation, but no blue mana. I think that this hand is a little bit of a trap. I'm going to send it back. This is much better. We will keep. Get rid of Soul Guide Lantern. So I can turn 1. I don't know what my opponent's playing, but theoretically we can play Mox Opal, Offer You Can't Refuse, turn 2 Song of Creation. They're on Breach. So yeah, I think this is the game plan. We're going to counter my own Mox Opal. I will grab Breeding Pool. Ouch. So I'm going to hold priority on the Mox Opal. Offer You Can't Refuse. Pass the turn. They have an Urza's Saga. Oh, they're not on Breach. They're on Amulet Titan. Okay. So, I mean, this hand still being fast is good. Haywire Might. Land number 1. Blue, colorless, red, and green. We need to hit off of the Noxious Revival trigger. I will put Mox Opal on top. I go to 15. Trigger the song. I missed. So we have to hope to not be dead. Pass the turn. Please don't kill me. Please do not kill me. Splunking. Okay. Making sure that I'm recording. I'm just a little nervous about that. Recently, I've had a couple bugs where I haven't recorded my matches. So looking over just to make sure that that red, recording light is on. They put into play a Crumbling Vestige. And it makes a green. Alright, so we are going to draw the known Mox Opal. And now we have to trigger and draw into a bunch of stuff. We'll play the Opal. And I will now offer, which will turn on the Mox Opal. I'm going to let this happen because I want the Metalcraft. And now I can play a Rumble. Trigger. We'll take the Mishra's Bauble. We'll play Bauble. And now we'll play another. Storm is 6. Let's Offer You Can't Refuse. And then I will Pact of... No. Do I want a Pact of Negation? No, let's just let this happen. I will now play Mishra's Bauble. Pact of Negation the Bauble. Running pretty low on things to do here. I think I want to keep the other Pact of Negation in my hand, just for emergencies. Alright, so... let's play Shifting Woodland. Tap it for a green. And I would like to Rumble again. Storm is now 10. Go on any of these, we'll take an Emery. Play the Mox Amber. Storm is 11. Sacrifice a treasure. I'll play Tameo Inquisitive Student. We'll tap Mox Amber now that it makes mana. And I'll play another one. I will go to 13. I'll play Stomping Ground. Need a little bit more storm here. I will play another Tamiyo Inquisitive Student. This triggers the song. I still want to hold Pact of Negation, so I'm not going to use it yet. I'll play another Mox Amber. Term is 15. Need 5 more spells. Play another Mox Amber. Play Mox Opal. Also, I haven't drawn Noxious Revival, which would have been helpful at some point. There's 2 of them in my graveyard that I've milled with Rumbles. We'll play Tamiyo Inquisitive Student. Keep 1. Play Bobble. This is from 19. And there's a Revival, but I don't think I need it anymore. We'll play Grape Shot for exactly 20. And this will leave me with 1 card in my deck. Target you. Sweet. Alright, we got away with 1 against Amulet Titan, in my opinion. And now we definitely want Into the Flood Maw. Don't need the Soul Guide Lantern. I like Pact of Negation in this matchup because they are a Force of Vigor deck. So I don't want to board those out. Offer was pretty great with helping me be fast. I think I'm actually going to board down on Tamiyo's. This doesn't seem like a great matchup for Tamiyo, personally. We'll try this. I do wonder if the deck wants like 1 Endurance, so that way you don't deck yourself. I mean, I like Noxious Revival. I think it's the better card. But I can't help but wonder if like maybe 1 Endurance could be helpful. We'll keep this. This is a potential turn 3 win. If I get a turn 3. They play Beseiju Who Endures. Into Green Sun Zenith. Dryad Arbor. We'll play Hedge Maze. That's actually what I was going to grab with the Misty Rainforest. Keep the Mox Opal. Pass the turn. 2 mana here. Another Beseiju Who Endures. For a Spelunking. Simic Growth Chamber. Now they can pick up the Beseiju Who Endures. That's annoying. Insidious Fungus, which sacrifices to destroy a Song of Creation. So they have me on lockdown right now. Let's play a Rumble. I guess we're taking Emery. Pass the turn. All they have to do is leave open 2 mana. They play another Spelunking, Basic Forest, and the Beseiju. No blocks. We'll take 1. Wonder what the play is. So I'll play Steam Vents. I think I'm supposed to play the song. We'll play Song of Creation. Make them use this thing. Play the Misty. And now we'll play Mox Opal. In response... No, I'm going to let the trigger happen. In response to this, I'll fetch. And now they can use this thing. So they destroy my song. And I actually drew into Shifting Woodland, so I don't even need the Noxious Revival now. We'll grab Breeding Pool. This way I can hold open an offer you can't refuse. Pass the turn. So my game plan is to use Shifting Woodland, copy the Song of Creation, and then trigger the song with the Noxious Revival. And we do need Delirium, so we have Enchantment, Land, Sorcery, Instant. That is 4 types, so we have the requirement to copy the Song of Creation. Collector Roof. I was not expecting that one. Yeah, that happens. So I can put Into the Flood Maw on top of my deck on the end step, and then that I can use that to trigger. So I'll pay a green, and now I can play the Shifting Woodland. We'll activate it, target the song, and now I'll pay green, and Shifting Woodland will become Song of Creation, and then I can they have Beseiju. They had triple Beseiju. Ah, that's brutal. Yep. I'll grab Commercial District. Get rid of Mishra's Bauble. Pass the turn. So now I need to find one of my Song of Creations. Another copy of Spelunking. And then they play the Aftermath Analyst. Yep. Rurgthar. Sure. Seems a little odd to me, but whatever makes you happy. I'm at 11. Another copy of An Offer You Can't Refuse. I will play an Emery Lurker of the Lock. I did not mill over a Song of Creation. They make 3 green mana. I think that I need to bring in the Needle for game 3. Just because they seem to be running a lot of Besejus, but also I could name like the Fungus or something else. Okay, they have Lotus Field. Another copy of Spelunking, sure. They use the Analyst. They put another Beseiju back to their hand. And now they attack with Collector Roof. I'll take 2 going down to 9. a Rumble. Let's play that. I think I want the Tamiyo Inquisitive Student. We'll play Tamiyo. Target Mishra's Bauble. Play the Bauble. Pass the turn. So theoretically, I could win by ultimating Tamiyo. I don't know if it's realistic, but it does beat Boseiju. They milled over another Boseiju, so they're on 4 copies of Boseiju, and they have 1 of them in their hand right now. I'll block the Collector Roof and I'll take 1. They play Forest. On the end step, I'm going to bounce Collector Roof, and then I will Mishra's Bauble them. Green Sun Zenith. So I'll draw off the Bauble, and then draw for turn. Go to combat, and I'll attack with Tamiyo Inquisitive Student. And then if I use the clue, I can transform Tamiyo. Play Urza's Saga, and I'll sacrifice the clue. Get a Rumble, plus the Tamiyo. And I'll play Mishra's Bauble from the graveyard, I suppose. And then we'll use that. Still the Green Sun, and I'll pass the turn. So the Tamiyo is going to make sure that these creatures don't deal any damage. They Boseiju the Saga, surprise, surprise. And I'll grab Stomping Ground, which is my last target for Boseiju. I draw another Urza Saga. I wonder if I was supposed to bounce the Aftermath Analyst, because then I could Pact Negation it. And then that way they don't have Boseijus anymore. They're now going to Aftermath Analyst. Yep. So now they put a Boseiju back to their hand. And now they have enough mana to hold open Boseiju. Green Sun Zenith for 3. I'm going to offer you can't refuse this. Collector Roof is back. I think I'm going to allow this to happen. They play Gruul Turf. They pick up the Lotus Field. We'll plus the Tamiyo. Play Urza's Saga. And I'll play a Rumble. Grab another Urza Saga. And we'll create a Eldrazi spawn. Pass the turn. We're in the long game now. I'm holding back the Emery to protect the Tamiyo Inquisitive Student. I don't think I've ever ultimated a Tamiyo, so this will be a first if we can make it happen. Another Collector Roof. Yeah, that happens. You don't want to Boseiju my Urza Saga? I'll play another. Play Mox Amber. Plus the Tamiyo. Maybe I shouldn't have played the Mox Amber. So my thought was making the constructs large enough. But maybe I should have been thinking about Storm for Grape Shot, because the Tamiyo is going to draw 9 cards next turn. But maybe 9's not even good enough. I don't know. They play Shifting Woodland, which can copy the Analyst. Oh, it could also copy Rurkthar. That's very good for them. End step, I will copy with the Urza Saga. And now we get to put a bunch of triggers on the stack. I will make another construct. And now I'll search. Grab Haywire Might. So let's Ultimate Tamiyo. I believe I can Into the Floodmaw a Rurkthar copy, but I don't actually have the Grape Shot. I didn't find it. It's in the bottom 9. Let's swing with the Construct token. Maybe I should have used Emery to play an artifact from the graveyard, because now if they copy the Rurkthar, I activate in response, and then it's a bounce. They block with Dryad Arbor. We'll use the Emery to return a Mishra's Bauble, play a land, pass the turn, I think. And I do not have to discard the hand size because of the Tamiyo emblem. This looks like another Green Sun Zenith. Scape Shift. I will play an offer you can't refuse. And they can't even use the treasure tokens because of their own copies of Collector Roof. On the end step, we will make a construct token. And now they're going to Boseiju the Saga. I'll look at my deck. There's still a Grape Shot in there. So I believe I have lethal. End step, we can Into the Floodmaw, bounce a Collector Roof, untap, upkeep. Let's Noxious Revival a Into the Floodmaw back to the top. And our opponent concedes the match. We got there. All right, we're 4-0, about to play for a trophy with Song of Creation combo. Stick around and watch match number 5. Want early access to articles at theepicstorm.com? Become a member of our Patreon to get articles 7 days early, on top of other sweet benefits, and help us pay our website team. You can sign up at patreon.com/theepicstorm. For the trophy, match number 5, we're on the draw. I've opened up a hand that can play turn 1 Tamiyo Inquisitive Student with Metalcraft, which will then turn on the Mox Amber, so it's 2 mana plus a Song of Creation. It's risky. I'm going to keep this. If my opponent kills my Tamiyo, I'm going to feel real silly. But the potential for this hand to be great is here. They have Arid Mesa, Free Sacred Foundry, Ragavan. Okay. Noxious Revival. Not really what I wanted. Alright, we're playing out my 0 mana artifacts. And then I will play Tamiyo Inquisitive Student. Pass the turn. They play Elegant Parlor. Okay, I guess I'm blocking. And an Ocelot Pride. So I now know that I'm allowed to use the Mishra's Bauble. Ooh, Static Prison. So because I'm allowed to use the Bauble because of the fact that the Tamiyo is about to make a treasure or clue. So that way I have Metalcraft again. I will attack. I'm going to fetch. Let's grab Stomping Ground. And then I'm going to Noxious Revival the... Oh, no, I should have gotten a Surveil land. I guess I don't need to pay the life. I will Noxious Revival Misty back on top. And then Grape Shot to kill both their creatures. Pass the turn. So they could Static Prison the Tamiyo if they want, but I don't know if that's a play they're going to make. They play an Ajani. We draw the Misty. So I could play out Song of Creation. The downside is I know that they have Static Prison. So I'm not sure if that's a good idea. I will attack, create a clue, and we'll pass the turn. You might be thinking that this Pact of Negation is like really dead, but a lot of these decks tend to play 1 to 2 main deck copies of Thraben Charm, and it will protect your Song of Creation. So I think it's actually just fine. They're fetching with the Arid Mesa. Goblin Bombardment. Sure. And Static Prison. They target the Tamiyo. I'm going to fetch in response. Grab the island. Let's draw off the clue. And so if I use this other clue, I'm going to lose Metalcraft. I think I'm going to just allow that to happen. And now they fling the cat. And this will transform the Ajani into a Planeswalker. And now they make another cat. I go to 11. I need something to trigger Song. That will trigger it. So we can play Urza Saga as the first land for the turn. Green, colorless, blue, red. Play Song of Creation. And now I can Noxious Revival. This will put me to 9. Trigger the Song. Okay. And now I can play Mishra's Bauble. This will get back the other Noxious Revival. In response to this, I am going to Noxious Revival. I'll go to 7. I did not draw any free spells. So I'm going to allow that to happen. And now I think I'm going to Pact of Negation the Bauble. It's now or never. So, Pact of Negation. Noxious Revival, the Noxious Revival. I'll go to 5. I do have to pay attention to the fact that they can Goblin Bombardment for 1. Alright, so this is finally going to resolve. I did not draw anything good there. So I can fetch with a Misty down to 2, but then I can't pay any more life. So I'll grab Steam Vents, and I will play a Tamiyo Inquisitive Student. Drew Pact of Negation. Play Haywire Might. Trigger. Running on fumes. I have to Pact of Negation the Haywire Might. And I did not draw enough 0 mana cards. So I think I fizzle and lose, because I'm pretty sure I played both lands. Yep. And you might be saying, Bryant, you're not dead. Don't concede. I've played multiple Pact of Negations, so that is not true. Alright, so that didn't go super well. The Song of Creation was not good to me. We want Mind Collapse. Into the Flood Maw. Don't need Soul Guide Lantern. I'm going to get rid of an offer you can't refuse, I think. We have to board something out. And maybe I'll just rely on Into the Flood Maw. Because if I want to Mind Collapse something, It's like a Mage Bean Lizard, I suppose. And if I'm doing that, I could probably just into the Floodmaw. Pact of Negation is still good against the Raven Charm, but also, like, a lot of these decks play Surgical Extraction or Orm's Chant and things like that. This hand has Song, we'll keep. Play the Hedge Maze, Surveil, keep Mox Amber, pass the turn, Marsh Flats, Sacred Foundry, into Ragavan. Play Urza Saga, play the Amber, and Emery Lurker of the Loch. Pass the turn. So I could, in theory, play Song of Creation next turn. They have Galvanic Discharge that stops the Song of Creation. They attack with Ragavan. They exile a Breeding Pool. Guide of Souls. Saga goes to the second chapter. I'll play Mishra's Bauble. Play Misty Rainforest. Pass the turn. Maybe I shouldn't have played the Bauble. So I'm sorry. I'm like too focused on Urza Saga. That's like the second or third time this video I've done that. End step, I will fetch, grab Stomping Ground, create a construct, and I think I'm just going to make constructs this turn. If they have a meltdown, they have a meltdown. It's not the end of the world. And now I'll search, grab a Mox Opal, play Commercial District. Don't think I want Rumble. Pass the turn. They find the second land. Ocelot Pride, okay. They now have 4 energy. And another Ocelot Pride. I'm going to Bauble. Galvanic Discharge. Maybe I should have waited on that. But if they're going to jump a creature here, it doesn't really matter. Because neither of my constructs can block is my point. Alright, so I will be taking 7. They'll exile the top card of my deck, which was a Mishra's Bauble. I actually wouldn't have minded a Mishra's Bauble. Because that triggers Song of Creation. 41 cards in my deck. They're at 33. So if I want to win this, I actually have to Grape Shot multiple times. I will fetch, grab our basic, play Song of Creation, and I will play Mishra's Bauble. Trigger the song. Play Mox Amber. Well, there's Grape Shot. Okay, so I need to make mana and then Grape Shot multiple times. This is going to resolve. Legend Roll. Play another Urza Saga. I think I'm going to Rumble. Another Mox Amber. Okay. We'll take Tamiyo. So I need another Opal. So I'll put Opal on top. I go to 5. And then I will go to 3 and put Noxious Revival on top. Play Mox Opal. And this allows me to play the Tamiyo. And now all of my Ambers will make mana. Okay, so we can now play Amber. 20 cards left in deck. I have to Grape Shot twice. So there's another Opal. Okay. Sorry, I'm just trying to think of like what I need to do in order to win here. So if I Grape Shot now, they would take 12. That means that the next one has to be for 21. So I have to play some more spells. What to do, what to do? Into the Floodmaw. We'll bounce Guide of Souls, I guess. Another Noxious Revival. I don't think I want to play that. But I do think I want a Pact of Negation. So now if I Grape Shot, it would be 14. Noxious Revival would be 15. Grape Shot for 16. So that's still not lethal. I'm just short of lethal. And then I'll Pact of Negation, Pact of Negation. So now it'd be... I think this is lethal. But I also need another red. I see 3 Mox Opals, so there's one more still in the deck. So we're bouncing Guide of Souls. Sacrifice the spawn. Tap for a red. The Grape Shot for 15. Noxious Revival would be 16. Grape Shot for 17. So that's 30. That's just short, but I have to find another red anyway. I think that's okay. So I will play Grape Shot here. So now we target them. 33 life is a lot. Okay, so we'll see if we can make this happen. If the Mox Opal's on the bottom of the deck, I think I lose. So there you go to 18. I did not find the Mox Opal. I'll go to 1. And I will Noxious Revival Grape Shot. Did I draw it? I did not. I think we're in a spot where I'm about to lose. I'm really missing the offer you can't refuse right now. Into the Floodmaw. And I can't bounce my own things. That's not how it works. Bounce the Ragavan. I need... Oh, it's not there. I think we just lost. Because that's all 4 Ambers? Yeah. I did not make it happen. I ended up just short. Ah. Look at my top card. It's a Pact of Negation. Or if I had 2 more life. Yeah, I think we just missed winning this game. I'll play another Tamiyo Inquisitive Student. And yeah, the other Opal is on the bottom of the deck, so I am going to lose this. Will it let me revival to end it? My opponent GG'd me. Yeah, I mean, you got it. Alright, so we did not get the trophy. We were so close. It's a bummer. But the deck felt pretty good. You could point it at me boarding out all of the offers. I think that would be fair. I don't know what else you're supposed to sideboard out though in this matchup. Like Pact of Negation is actually good. Like you might be saying like you really should board it out, but when they have Orm's Chant and Thraben Charm and Wear Tears and all these other sort of cards, like it ends up being decent. So maybe you keep in one offer and board out one Pact of Negation, but I don't know. Like I really do think Pact of Negation is good here and a trigger song. Like, when you look at those games, it came down to the fact that this build is light on things to trigger Song of Creation. So, I think that is an area where it could be improved. I'd also be interested in an Endurance, because Endurance could have put a bunch of Mox Opals back in the deck. So, 1 Endurance probably would have solved all of that. So, I would play 1 copy of Endurance, and I don't know exactly what I would cut. Probably the main deck Soul Guide Lantern. Like, that... Doesn't it seem great? I know that the best deck in the format is Underworld Breach combo, but if you're getting Haywire Might versus getting Soul Guide Lantern, I feel like they're pretty similar. They both answer Breach. So I would cut the Soul Guide Lantern, maybe move it to the sideboard over one of the Tormod's Crypts, and then I'd play the main deck Endurance there. But I thought this deck was so sweet. Thank you to Gobi for submitting it today as a donation deck. I hope you all enjoyed the video. If you did, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Thanks for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day and keep storming. Hey, I appreciate you watching today's video. Make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe to support the channel. Additionally, check out Card Market, Europe's leading card single retailer, where you can buy singles for your deck like, I don't know, the Epic Storm. Anyway, once again, thank you for watching. See ya!